Welcome back to Podcast and Chill. I'm Leo, and as always, I've got the awesome Gwen here with me.
Hey everyone!
So, Gwen, do you ever get nervous when you're about to make a big decision,
Like what?
like switching jobs or moving to a new city?
Oh, for sure. I remember when I was thinking about moving to a new city for work, I was stressing out for weeks.
That sounds so familiar. I felt the same way when I decided to switch careers.
Change is scary, but it can also bring so many new opportunities.
And today, we're talking about why we fear change and how we can face it with confidence.
So, stick around.
And don't forget, we have a free PDF to help you work on these tips.
Make sure to create a copy so you can edit it for your own goals.
So, why are so many people afraid of changes?
My take is that changing means stepping outside our comfort zone. And that's scary.
Why is stepping out of our comfort zone scary?
Let's be honest, who doesn't love staying in their own little bubble? We like what we know because it's familiar and easy to handle.
Yeah, I mean, even something simple like your usual coffee order. You want no surprises, right?
You got it. Some studies pointed out that our brains were wired to avoid uncertainty.
In other words, our brains are wired to prefer the familiar, right?
Correct. We like things that feel safe, even if they're not always the best thing for us.
That explains why, whenever I feel like facing unusual things, I feel uneasy. It's like my brain is on high alert.
I get what you mean. However, we must remember that we don't grow inside that bubble.
You're right. We only grow when we push ourselves outside that comfort zone.
So, how do you usually deal with uncertainty?
Oh, I've asked myself, what if everything goes wrong about a million times?
That's rough.
I try to stay positive, but I always cave in and end up panicking. My brain just jumps straight to the worst case scenario.
I totally get it. We all imagine ourselves messing up or things completely falling apart when we step out of our comfort zone.
Yeah, like when I was about to start a new job, I kept thinking, what if I screw up on my first day? What if I don't fit in? My mind was going a mile a minute with all these what ifs.
And that's completely normal. Our brains are kind of wired to focus on the negatives.
Wait, really?
Yep. Scientists call it negativity bias.
What's that?
It's the tendency to focus more on negative information than positive. It's something humans developed over time to survive. Thousands of years ago, spotting danger, like predators, was critical, so our brains learned to zoom in on anything that might be a threat.
Wow, I had no idea.
The funny thing is, most of the fears we build up in our heads never actually come to pass.
Even when nothing bad happens, when everything starts changing too quickly, it feels like I'm completely at the mercy of the situation.
Are you talking about the fear of losing control?
Exactly. When life throws a bunch of changes at me all at once, I just feel totally overwhelmed.
That makes sense. When change happens too fast, our brains kind of freak out because we feel like we're losing our grip on things.
So how do we stop that and get back on top of the situation?
Here's the thing. Trying to control every little detail isn't always the way to go.
Then what should we do?
Instead of stressing over the big picture, focus on small, manageable steps that move you forward.
Why does that work?
Because breaking things down reduces stress. When there's no stress, you can focus better. With better focus, your mind clears up, and before you know it, you're calm enough to tackle things one by one.
That's a really good point.
Yep, it's all about taking it step by step and trusting that everything will fall into place as you keep moving forward.
But what if we fail?
Of course, that's always a possibility. Nothing guarantees success. When we try something new, it's so common for the thought, "What if I fail?" to pop into our heads.
So, how do we get past the fear of failure and face change head on?
Oh, I hear you. It's almost like we think failing is the end of the road.
So, what should I do then?
The key is to reframe failure. It doesn't have to be a stop sign. It can actually be a stepping stone to something better.
That's a great way to look at it.
There's even a study from the University of Toronto that shows people who see failure as a learning opportunity tend to be more resilient and successful in the long run,
It's like every failure teaches us something: what works, what doesn't, and how to do better next time.
right? So instead of letting the fear of failure hold you back, use it as a chance to grow and level up.
Now that you've put it that way, failing feels like it's just a chapter in every success story.
Certainly.
All right, Gwen, let's go over some new vocabulary for today. First, be on high alert. It means to be very watchful or prepared for danger or trouble. For example, the guards were on high alert during the security drill.
Second, at the mercy of something. It means to be controlled or affected by something you cannot resist or escape. For example, we were at the mercy of the weather during the camping trip.
Third, lose one's grip. It means to lose control of a situation or one's emotions. For example, she started to lose her grip on the project after missing several deadlines.
Fourth, fall into place. It means that things start to work out as planned or make sense. For example, once we got the funding, everything else fell into place.
Finally, hold back. It means to stop oneself from doing or saying something. For example, he tried to hold back his laughter during the serious meeting.
Now let's discuss two questions about our topic. First question is, why do you think stepping outside your comfort zone is important for growth?
I think it's because staying in our comfort zone means no challenges, and without challenges, we don't improve.
The second question is, how do you personally deal with the fear of failure when facing change?
I remind myself that failure isn't the end, and I try to see it as a lesson to learn from.
Great perspective. What about you, listeners?
Share your thoughts in the comment section below. We'd love to hear them. But Gwen, it's not like we're always scared of new things just because of uncertainty.
What do you mean?
Sometimes the fear of change comes from things that happened in the past, right?
I was just about to touch on that.
Think about it. Maybe we've tried something before and it went south. So, our brains hold on to those failures and wave them like red flags whenever a similar situation pops up.
I get what you're saying. That's how our brains are wired.
Why do our brains work like that, though?
It's that negativity bias we talked about earlier. Our brains are built to avoid repeating painful experiences, so they come up with worst-case scenarios as a way of warning us to steer clear of trouble.
So, it's kind of like a survival skill.
Yeah. But the thing is, now that we know the past can mess with how we see the future, we can do something about it.
It's tough, though. It's so easy to get stuck in those memories and let them hold us back.
True. But if we let that fear keep us grounded, we might miss out on something amazing.
So, what can we do to move on from the past?
How about focusing on the bright side of change?
That might just work. We've been so caught up in our fears that we've almost forgotten how much good change can bring.
I know, right? Change helps us grow, pick up new skills, and become the best version of ourselves.
It can also open doors to opportunities we never saw coming.
Well, I remember switching careers a few years ago. At first, I was scared out of my mind, but look where it brought me here, chatting with you.
Are you happy with that decision?
Not a single regret.
Glad to hear it.
You know, there's a study in the Journal of Vocational Behavior that found people who lost their jobs unexpectedly often ended up feeling more satisfied in their new roles than those who stayed put.
So they were kind of pushed into making a change?
Kind of. But here's the thing. What seemed like a setback turned out to be a blessing in disguise. Change can be terrifying at first, but it often pays off in ways we don't expect.
How can we actually start embracing change, though?
Let's take it slow. Baby steps first.
I'm all ears.
Start by trying something new every day, even if it's just a little thing.
For example,
Like try a new food, listen to a different genre of music, or take another route to work.
does that really help?
It does. Making small changes is way easier than diving headfirst into a big one. Plus, it builds up your confidence little by little.
That makes sense.
And here's the key: trust yourself to adapt. Sure, change might feel awkward at first, but the more you step out of your comfort zone, the better you'll handle it.
You know what? Now that you've explained it, change doesn't seem as terrifying as I thought. All right, Gwen, let's explore some new phrases today. First, go south. It means to go wrong or get worse. For example, the meeting started fine, but things went south when they couldn't agree on the budget.
Second, come up with. It means to think of or create an idea, solution, or plan. For example, we need to come up with a new design for the website.
Third, steer clear of something. It means to avoid something or stay away from it. For example, I try to steer clear of negative people because they drain my energy.
Fourth, keep somebody grounded. It means to help someone stay humble and realistic. For example, her family keeps her grounded despite her big success.
Finally, the bright side of something. It means the positive aspect of a bad or difficult situation. For example, on the bright side, the rain will help our garden grow. All right, Gwen, here's a question for you.
What's that?
Why do you think the past can make us afraid of change?
Well, I'd say it's because our brains remember bad experiences and use them to warn us. It's like our survival instincts kicking in.
That makes sense. Now ask me a question about our today's topic.
What small steps can we take to start embracing change?
We could try something new every day, like eating a different dish or listening to a new type of music.
Great idea.
Well, that's a wrap for today, folks.
If there's one thing we hope you take away from this episode, it's that being scared of change is totally normal.
Remember that everyone goes through it at some point.
But the trick is learning how to face it head on and push through. Change doesn't have to be as daunting as it seems.
So don't let the fear of change stop you,
Embrace it. Take it one step at a time and trust the process. Who knows? It might lead to something amazing.
right? You never know what kind of awesome surprises it might bring your way.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone. I'm Gwen.
And I'm Leo.
Until next time, stay open to change and keep working on becoming the best version of yourself.